Hi guys, this is Heidi with the Shimmerz Education Team, and today we're going to do a fun black and white photo altering technique. All I need you to bring is some Shimmerz paints. I'm going to be using Shimmerz, pearls, and some colorings, and then some black and white photos, and they can be printed at home. They can be ones that you had printed elsewhere, or you can even print them on some watercolor paper. So grab your stuff and let's get started. Okay, first you need to select your photos that you want to alter, and grab a couple of paint brushes. Grab a little cup of water. I'm actually going to use an old water bottle that I have filled with water, and I'm just going to fill the cap up with just a little bit of water and set it to the side. And I have my paint brushes, and then I have a couple of colors here that are just a little bit dried out, but of course I don't want them to be wasted. And before I freshen them up, and a couple of them are there's hardly anything left in them, but we're going to use up every little bit of the Shimmerz that we have. So we're going to do a little bit of water painting to change the appearance of a couple of photos. Kind of makes it look a little Instagram-y or hipstamatic like. And I just think it has a really cool effect on the photos. And so I have my photo right here of my son Jax, and I think that I want to use a little bit of blue to enhance his eyes. So you can see I have a little bit of dried out paint in the bottom that I have not fixed up or added water to. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to dip my paintbrush into my water here, and I'm just going to kind of set it on there just a little bit, and it ends up being a little bit like water paints. And you can see inside here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you'll see just a little bit of the color pull up because we're not adding the water to really mix it in. Then I have my paintbrush, and I'm going to paint right on top of my photo and fill in the color where I want it. I'm going to do it only with Shimmerz and with pearls because they're a little bit more or less blingy than the blings, of course, but that way you're not adding a ton of glitter to your photos, and just a hint of color. And so I've colored in his eyes here, and so now he's got some blue eyes, and I think I'm going to color in some of the stripes on his shirt. And this is just on a regular printed photo paper. You can also do this on watercolor paper, and that has a really neat effect. It ends up being more watercolor paint-like. Let's see here. And as it dries, it'll get a little less intense in the color, and it just really has a cool effect on the photo. So now I think I'm actually going to add some blue, kind of just a little hint of color into this background. I think I might need to add just a little bit more of my water. Let's kind of do a little bit of a color wash. Now if you're doing this on the photo like I am, you know, the little bit more water that you put in, it does it does drop some of the ink within the photo, so the paper, depending on the kind of quality photo paper that you've printed it on at home, or whether, I don't know if you've printed out from a professional print or printed it yourself, but the quality of the paper matters just a little bit. If it's a heavier paper, the color will still show up, but it won't give a like a purple tinge to it where it's drawing up some of the printer ink. I print mine at home for the most part, and so I'm going to have a little bit of a purple tinge from it reacting to the ink, but that's totally okay with me because it just gives a little bit of a wash. Okay, so because I kind of want it to look blended, I'm going to use another color now. I'm going to use the same brush. I just dipped it into the cap and kind of rinsed it off, but there's enough water there that it's kind of desaturating it. And now I'm going to dip it here into Shimmerz, and this is teal. It's kind of, this one's almost completely empty here. Just need to get just a little bit of the color. Let's see if I can draw some of this up. It's got a little bit more of a blue-green because it's a teal. Okay. And I'm going to kind of wash it right in there. And it's just, it'll blend a little bit, just like, you know, with your normal, when you're using the paints like we've taught you before, that if you use the paints before they're dry in layers, they're going to combine a little bit. So if you don't want it to combine as much as I'm letting it blend in here, then make sure to let your first layer of paint dry before you add on this second coat. Okay? So much fun. So many uses for Shimmerz paints. Even when your little pots are almost all used up, you can use every little bit of it. This is a really simple, really quick, easy photo technique. And of course, when you paint on here with the paints, you're not going to want to dry it with a heat gun because that will warp your paper and your photo there. Alright, so I'm done with that color now that I've blended that in a bit.